I was contemplating a YouTube post, or a Facebook post, excuse me, where it had Romney saying that if Obama was elected, that the whole world would go to shit and all that. And it had a chart that showed Obama's record. I don't know how factual it was, but it had of course, when Bush was in office, everything was in the red, and as Obama took over, everything was starting to come up and into the blue. They had it blue. Very, very cute. And a lot of people that I know, and very intelligent people, and people that I like, were skeptical. They were saying they don't believe it. That's, it's bullshit and it's skewed, and that doesn't even matter anyway. We're screwed no matter what. And I'm tempted to buy into that, but for one issue, I also wrote as a comment, if this had been posted, or if this same chart would reflect a Republican or a different politician, would they be then more likely to believe it? And I have to come to the conclusion that no, they probably wouldn't believe it more if it was from somebody else. So to me, that would say they're not going to believe that chart, that things are getting better no matter what. There's just nothing that anybody could say or show that would prove that things are getting better, which to me is evidence to me of a bad thought meme, that no matter what evidence you see, we're screwed. Which brought me around to religion, like it does. There's always the question, and I've been asked this many times, and I've answered it many different ways, but the question is, what would it take for me to believe in God? And I always put evidence, that's evidence. But I'm going to have to, or in thinking about that one chart where nothing would convince me, I'm having to rethink my snarky kind of knee-jerk reaction to evidence, and have to replace it with still evidence, but it would have to be overwhelming, emergent, long-term evidence. What I mean by that is, take, for instance, Christianity, which is the prevalent religion here in Florida. And in order for me to believe in Christianity and the God of the Bible, their particular version of the Bible, whatever that is, I would have to see evidence to show conclusively that those that pray to this particular God get overwhelming favor in all things in life. True Christians, whatever that is, and not a single Christian gets to judge that, but Christians who claim to be Christian and pray to God and have the Bible and give their soul to Christ, if there's a hurricane or a tornado, I would expect only the atheists and Muslims and pagans, only those religions to be killed, and the Christians to have been saved by Jesus and God. I always see, and so it would have to be overwhelming evidence that God favors those that believe in him. Otherwise, there would be no point, really, would there? I mean, if you don't get any favors from the God that you're praying to, what's the point of praying to that particular God? Or is there another point? Would there be a reason, just if you think that's the only God there is, that you better well pray to him because you're going to get smashed by the godly hammer if you don't, which that doesn't seem to me to be the motivation of most Christians. Most Christians seem to believe that their God is the good, kind, loving God that will love them for all of eternity, and you must then show your love to him for all of eternity by being on your knees groveling, or he will punish you by catching you on fire forever. That particular God or that particular religion. So I would have to see overwhelming evidence in favor of that, and I just don't. So if in the future I have to be more mindful of my mindset that if I don't think that anything could ever convince me, which I haven't really ever said that, but in my mind I've kind of felt that that there's nothing that's going to convince me that God exists. It's either going to be some sort of delusion, or a skewed bit of evidence, or there's an explanation other than God, which so far there has been, but my bias in my head, I'm looking at one chart regarding Obama's productivity in office, exposed that particular bias to me that I have in my own head. So the thought hit my head, and I had to hit the camera with my thought. So there you go.